谢谢高老师的介绍。今天是很高兴来台科大哈，虽然说我们很近哈，可是其实没有真正进来过哈，都是从外头经过这样子。那个我今天讲的，就像高老师说的哈，其实很大一部分都是我自己的一个经验哈。那个跟各位老师们哈分享一下。首先呢，我先要讲说哈，我对我这个英文教学哈是从何开始哈？我这个这个 inorganic for chemistry 这是一门课哈，我开这门课，刚才高老师有说，好，我自己本身是光化学学光化学的哈。那这个是2004年哈，我们有38个学生，我其实不晓得台科大那个学生的人数哈。我们师大哈，其实我回国那时候哈，我很早就回国嘛，因为我都快要退休了。我90年代回国的时候哈，我们其实都很小班的，那这是研究所课，所以我那时候38个人修哈，我很不喜欢的，因为我觉得我没有办法 handle 这个课，所以我就想要一个办法哈，就是 how to reduce the amount of student 所以呢哈，然后呢，我想的是个办法哈。So I'm going to show my slide, okay? So this is the actual slide of my lecture, okay? my class and my course, okay? So the reason is because I have assigned homework. They have to do the experiment, and they have to present it, okay? So they have to do the lab work. There's no TA, okay? So the student has to try to do them themselves, okay, somehow. So I have assigned them to do a few things, and so that's also why I don't like too many students, okay? And so this is my PowerPoint for the course. The reason I'm showing that, okay, of course I'm not teaching the photochemistry to the audience, okay? The reason I'm showing that is that obviously you can see that all my PowerPoint are all in English. Okay, so actually, if I'm going to teach in English, the only thing I have to do is to switch my talking, switch how I talk. Okay, I can explain the things in Chinese, or I can explain the things in English. And for me, it's not a big problem. Okay, I have been staying in the US for a long time, so it's not a big problem for me. So what I decided is that I'm going to use English. So I announced that I'm going to teach this course in English. So the idea is to reduce the student size. So what happened? Okay, this is the first year. This is 2004. I have 20 graduate students and 18 undergraduate. This course is for undergraduate and graduate. And for graduate student, it's not a required course. Okay, it's an elective course. But for graduate student, they have to take some inorganic core elective course. So for graduate student, they have more motivation to take this course, and some undergrad will take it. So this is a year I have taught in Chinese. Okay. So the next year I announced I'm going to teach in I will teach in English. End up I have almost the same amount, but the graduate student reduced significantly, but the undergrad increased. So it's not much I can do. I have to accept them. Okay. So and to the end is that what I found is for most of the undergraduate, they wanted to experience the English teaching. They wanted to experience that. They never had that. Okay. So they participate. And for the graduate student, they just want to get the credit. So in English is a little bit discouragement. So by end up, I didn't have much difference. Okay, so so we have finished that, and because I have the student to report it, so I asked him to report it in English also. And by my evaluation, okay, I think the undergrad actually did a better job than the graduate student. Right? So that's the first time I taught in English. Okay, and the year after. Now I really show effect, because all the undergrad they wanted to experience the English has experienced it. And the rest does it still have more undergrad, but significantly less. Okay, and my university require for 10 students the minimum amount. I barely passed, so it was okay. Actually, I like this slide. Okay, if I can sustain it, it's perfect for me. So I have enjoyed doing so. So that's how I do it. But okay, and then the year after that, it's not a real increase. The year after that, actually, I got less than 10 students. So it's below the university's requirement. So I immediately announced I will switch back to Chinese. So I got more students. So this is, I'm not quite sure what kind of experience is that, but it's a true experience. And I know how I did it, okay? The reason I did it is, I shouldn't say the reason. You guys heard my reason. The way I did it is just switching to English. I just, I teach exactly the same thing. And I switch it to English, use English to explain. And I ask the students to report in English. Okay, the rest, they're all the same. In Chinese or in English, they're all the same. That's the first time experience, and that's the end. Actually, that's the end. So that was 2007, it was quite a long time ago. So how did I start again? Okay, how I start again? So this is the one can read in Chinese, so I can see that. This is what happened in the policy. Okay, the Mao announced that this is in the in 2021. Announced that in the high school has to use a bilingual teaching. Okay, that's for high school. Okay, not for university. And they have a supporting few things. First, they want to have the English course is in all English. That's the main goal. It's the number one goal. And the second goal is that some of the topics, the subject topic, they should teach in bilingual. Okay? And some is okay. And they have they even supporting to having experimental class. Okay, for doing this. Okay, so this is a Mao's policy. And within this policy, it's actually give lots of money. It's 4 million NT for each class. 4 million NT for each class. And 2 million can be construction. So lots of high school are, has a big eye and want to apply for it. So because they give lots of money, so they have evaluation. So they want to do evaluation. Evaluation said it's a local government can see if it's necessary. They should go to the school to see how they work. And this is it's 国教署, it's a K-12 administrative educational administrative office. They have to see. They have to go to the to the school to evaluate. Okay, so that was the evaluation from to the same project. So the 国教署asked Professor Zhang in 彰化师范大学 to organizing the going to the school. So we have to do lots of things together. Okay? I have talked to Professor Gao. I have working with 国教署 many times, many years, for many different aspects. So because of that, so I know Professor Zhang. So she invited me to be one of the members to go to the school to see how they do, how they're doing. And so I was thinking, at that time, why I being asked? This is to evaluate someone's teaching, basically. Of course, I'm in a normal university. I have learned some educational credits. Okay, I have learned something, but I still think it's why I should be asked for. Why am I qualified for doing so? At that time, I think the only reason is I can speak English, basically, which I don't like in that way. So I decided I should I should give myself a little bit more things. Okay? And also at that time, NTNU, my university, tried to promote this teaching English. Okay, tried to do an EMI. So they asked the professors to taking the course. So I was decided to take the course, and also because that's during the COVID time, all the courses are online. So actually, it took me a lot of time to decide I was going to do this. The course, I think, depends on the person's speed. It's about 40 hours. So I spent a few weekends and finished that. So I got a certificate. Okay, the idea is to get a certificate. So I can say, if someone say, why are you qualified for being the evaluator? I can say, oh, because I'm a chemistry professor and I have a certificate in EMI skill. So I can do this evaluate your bilingual teaching. That was the idea. Okay, so I went to this course. And at that time, my university is heavy collaborated with Cambridge facility. And then there's the MAL also promoted to help the teacher. Okay, they want the high school to teach bilingual, so they have to help the teachers in high school to be able to teach in bilingual. So then they offer the course. Okay, first course, the English teacher has to use total English to teach. Okay, and the subject teachers has to be able to use bilingual. And they have to come back to learn English. Okay, so they asked our university to offer all those classes. Okay? And they were expecting this 2022, we should have 2,000 high school teachers and up to 5,000. So again, because of this, okay, now we have to teach the student to be a teacher, not just I taught in English. Okay? So it's more things. So then we do, now the university switched to Oxford. So we're doing the Oxford. So this one is, again, this is an EMI certificate, but this one is more for the university lecture course. It's more for how, it's not just for the subject, it's also helping how to help the one you teach, the students you teaching, okay? So I have, so during this time, I decided to take whatever they offer. Okay. But actually, this one is again, this is NTNU. They would like us to take this course, so I did. I complied. Okay, so then comes the university. That's what Professor Gao was talking about. Actually, it's parallel. It's high school and university are roughly the same time. Okay, so this is for the university, the best program. Okay, I actually don't know the full English name for this, but the short is for the best. They were saying that the first part is from 2021 to 26, and so and also in that program they were already stated as EMI, and the view for this project is to have promoting this the international competition competitivity. Okay, so this is our visions. Okay, the most important is the money and the SWIP. Okay, I'm not quite sure the SWIP, but the money I know. Okay, so everyone knows the MAL offers lots of money for the university to doing so. And in my university, our vice president, VP, Liu Meihui, she has been promoting the English teaching way before this. So when this come out, obviously my university is going to apply for it. So we got in the whole school project, the first few. So and also the VP Liu, she's basically she's forcing all the department to come out with English teaching course. So every department has to come out at least 1/5 of the credits to be taught in English within 2 years or something. And it has to be a core course because the student need to get the credit to be able to graduate. Okay, so the whole idea is to be an international university. We can accept foreign students. Okay, that was the idea. So we need to come up with that. And if we can't, if the department were not doing that, your operating fund will be cut. Okay, it's just directly ordered, basically. So in that case, we have to do it. Okay, so for the, it's directly from top down, basically. Okay, every department has to do so. Otherwise, you just have to take the operating fund cut. Okay, so then come back to my department. Some professors are willing to do so, but most of the professors are, highly rejected. Okay, they really don't like it. Okay, and actually they are not quite happy about it. So the department chair, the department chair cannot force anyone. Because your professors are not relying on the operating fund, we rely on our own project. Okay, so I have to ask the faculties who's willing to do so. I used to talk in English, so obviously everyone was looking at me. Okay, so I will say it's no problem. I can take as many I can. Okay, so I will taking the responsibility. So that's a new thing. That's 2022. From my 2007, it's more than 10 years. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. But because I have the experience before, I knew what happened. Okay, if I just switching the way I teach, okay, it's not going to help students, and so the student number is dropping dramatically. Okay, and also because I took those courses, even though the main purpose is to get the certificate, okay, but I do learn something. I learn some different tricks and different methods. Okay, so I decided to incorporate them all together. So the second time, I will call it the second one. Okay. The second time I decided to teach in English. I decided to do the things totally different. Okay, so I decided to do things totally different. Number one is that I asked myself, like Professor Gao was also talking about, why should we do this? Besides that's the pressure from the top down, what else? We can't just fulfill other people's vision. We have our own vision. So for me, the reason I would like to do this is because I do think, I truly believe that the globalization is no return. Okay, sooner or later, everyone has to be within everyone else. So and also our student has far more opportunity if they go outside Taiwan. Okay, so I think it's very good for them if they can go outside Taiwan. They can probably find better jobs, better living standard, all sort of thing. So I decided I will help the students. Okay, so they can know they can say chemistry in English. Okay, so that was the idea. So I decided I will do that, and to encourage a student to do so, I also told the student, what I believe. And sometimes the students they are young, naive, not really naive. Some students were saying that people talk about the 21st century, the century is going, the end of the century is going to be a Chinese century. But I told them, it may be it's a Chinese dominant, but in science, it's never going to be. Because Chinese itself is not a precise language. Okay, I always use an example to a student. Everybody likes football. Not football, sorry, baseball. In Taiwan is baseball. We always say in the news, 中华队大败韩国队。Which team won? 中华队大胜韩国队。Which team won? For foreigners, they will kill them. They couldn't understand why it's the win or lose. That's all Chinese team win. Okay. Chinese is not a precise language. It's not going to be dominating the science field. There's no way. So that's how I convince the student. You have to learn English in chemistry. Okay, chemistry you have to learn in English. So this is for the motivated students. But I still did lots of different things in my teaching. So later on, I'm going to put lots of videos. Okay, so I'm going to sit beside. Okay, so this is my video. I'm doing this flip class. I will talk about why I'm doing this later on. Okay, but I'm first going to show how I'm doing my class. Okay, so this is I record all my content. I video record all my content, and the student have to watch it before they come to a class. Okay, so this is my content. Okay, this is the video content. Hello everyone, welcome to the chemical application of group theory course. Group theory itself is a very important topic in mathematics. But for us, we are not learning the whole thing, the theory about the group theory. Okay? We are focusing on the application for the chemistry, what we can use the group theory to understand the chemical properties. And one of the most important part is to understand the molecular spectroscopy. Okay. So this is the textbook we choose for this course. This is called Symmetry and Spectroscopy. And the symmetry, so in the beginning we were talking about the symmetry. Symmetry has important elements, okay? What we talk about that, they have a reference point, okay? So the reference point is what we call this symmetry elements. Okay, the symmetry elements, we have points, and we have axis, and we have a mirror. So it's a 0 dimension, 1 dimension, and 2 dimension. Okay, and we're going to start to talk about the operations. Okay, only the reference points is not going to tell how the symmetry of the molecule. So we're going to talk about the operations. First, there is an operation. We have to call them as the identity operation. The symbol is E. Okay? This operation actually is more like doing nothing. So this is something, the symmetry is to itself. Okay? So this is the basic one. And then the second one, we were first talking about a plane, the mirror. Okay? When we're talking about symmetry elements of it's a mirror, that means we were operating, okay, the operation is doing the reflection, okay, through a plane, through a mirror plane. So let's use the molecule, the thionyl fluoride as an example. This is the compound structure, and we have in the middle is the sulfur, oxygen, and 2 fluorides, okay? And we can see that if I have a mirror plane going through the sulfur and oxygen bond and going down, what happens is that if I'm doing the reflection, okay, the sulfur, the right side of the sulfur reflects to the left side of the sulfur. It's still the sulfur atom, so it's the same thing. The oxygen is the same thing, but the fluoride is slightly different. Fluoride is not on the mirror, it's not cutting through by the mirror, so the fluoride is on the right. But this fluoride, if I do reflection, they will reflect into the left fluoride, okay? And by doing this reflection, the molecule itself has not changed, okay? The sulfur is still sulfur, oxygen is still oxygen, fluoride is interchanged with the other fluoride. If I can label the fluoride, the compound is becoming slightly different, okay? But we know the fluoride are the same, so they are identical as they started with. This is what we call this molecule, the thionyl fluoride molecule has 1 mirror plane. Okay, so I clip a few minutes of my lecture, okay. When I video recording, I have watched many universities providing the online course, okay. I think it's recording from the classroom is not very good. So I decided to go to the green screen. I actually recording by the green screen. So I'm joking, I'm the weather lady. So I'm waving my hands. I'm the weather. Okay, and the university is not paying for that, okay, so I have to pay it myself. Okay.
Wow.
So I record all my lectures. Yeah.
Do your school better provide this?
The university, NTAU does has the green screen room. Okay, but it was the VPU designed for international university. So for us, even though we taught in EMI, it's not qualified to use it. So I decided not to argue with them. I will just go outside and record it. So I record this. I think this is a little bit bigger. It's I like this much better actually. Okay, I personally like this way, so I decided to do so. So all the course is recorded. The student has to watch it first, okay, before they come into a classroom. And I've done this a couple of years, okay, but this year I'm doing something new, okay, I'm doing a little bit extra. So I will show you that. Right. So this year I'm doing vocabulary list. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to recording this vocabulary list. Okay. The first word is the symmetry. Symmetry is a noun, showing that the object has something similar to each on some reference point. Okay. We will explain this more in the class. Okay. But the related words are symmetric. You can notice that the accent is different for these two words. As a symmetry, the accent is in the front. Symmetric, the accent is on the E here. And this is an adjective describing something has a symmetry, okay? And then we have a adverb which is symmetrically, and the accent is also again on the A, okay? So this is symmetry, symmetric, symmetrically. Okay. So you learn one words and you know all the words that are associated with them. The second one is a spectroscopy, which is a noun, but it's describing the theory behind the spectrum. Okay. Spectroscope is also a noun, and also you notice the accent is different. This is spectroscopy. This is a spectroscope, and spectroscope describing the actual instrument that measuring the spectrum. So this is an instrument, and this is a theory. Both noun but describing different things. And the also the adjective is spectroscopic. So the spectroscopic has an accent is similar to the spectroscope, not as the spectroscopy. Okay? And again, there's an adverb, it's a spectroscopically. So all the three have the accent the same place, except the spectroscopy. Spectroscopy is the accent is in different place, right? But they are the same words, okay, same type of words. And then we go into identity. Identity again is a noun. We usually know more is about identical, which is adjective that's describing something similar to each other. But this is adjective is identical. Identity is a noun. And we have a verb which is identify. To find out something, to know something, that's called identify. So again, okay, one word, you have to learn the whole group. And you should understand, you should know every form that when you see it or hear it. So it's identity, identical, identify. Okay, so this vocabulary list is I've done it this year. Okay, so I have to use a Zoom recording. It's not going outside, so I'm just recording it. And also, I want to point that if you notice that when I first talking about the symmetry, I have slight difficulty to explain symmetry. All of a sudden, I don't know how to explain that. Okay, but in the course I have in this certificate course I have taken, they said that we should never translate. Okay, so they say if you translate, the student will always expecting you to translate. So when you say in English and you usually will translate to Chinese, they will never listen to the English. They will just wait until the Chinese come up. So this is one of the theory, okay? But later on, someone says, you have to translate because the student also need to adapt the local language. So I'm not quite sure, okay? But so far, I never use Chinese. If I'm going to use English in the course, except I'm calling the student's name, I never use Chinese. Okay, so even though all of a sudden I can't use English to explain that, I still try to. I'm struggling. Okay, but I don't use. I won't use Chinese. Okay, just try to be something that student will know. You just have to listen English. Okay, I'm not going to have Chinese. Okay, that's how I decided to do it. The reason I have this is also because during this Chinese Campus Society meeting, this is a big issue for this few years for many of the university teaching. So we also have an experience exchange forum, and one of the professors was saying that she's from Zhongzhen University, and she says that she has to have a vocabulary to help the students to understand. So I decided to do it. And also, you also notice that I have been emphasizing on how to pronounce the words. Okay, because I also, in the beginning of the class, I also mentioned to students, English has many forms, and very often, if you change the syllable, you change the place of the accent. So the words you know, and if you change the accent, it's all of a sudden you don't understand the words. It's my own experience. I remember I think it's roughly about the time right after I got my PhD degree actually. I think my English was good at that time. So I heard the talk about STM. Okay, so it's stimuli tunneling microscopy. And you notice microscopy, I just didn't know what it was. I was like, what? I don't know anything about that. And it was causing me lots of trouble. And it's just hard for me to listen the lecture. Every time the words come up, stimuli tunneling microscopy, I was stuck. And finally, I just realized that microscopy, it's just microscope. Microscope, we learned it from high school. But because it's becoming Y at the end, okay, so it's becoming microscopy. It's not microscopy, it's a microscopy. For me, there's two different words. But it's not, so it's very hard for us to learn lots of vocabulary. And that's also why I'm putting things like this. Okay, I don't, it's really not necessary I get all the form, but I try to, put as many forms as possible. And I pronounce that for them so they can sort of hear that. I also encourage them, if you don't know how to pronounce certain words, type it in the Google or type it in this translate or something and have them pronounce it for you. And very often you get much better pronunciation. Okay, so so this is also come out with my own mission. Okay, so I've said many aspects of why I wanted to do this. Okay, the other thing is I really wanted to help the student. Okay, I think our students, I'm from NTNU, they are actually very good students. And also their English is not so bad either. The starting point is not terrible, it's not too bad. But you can't say it. Most of the Chinese, they can't say English. So I also give myself the mission, is I'm going to force the student to speak English. That's what I give myself, the small challenge that I want the students to do so. So in that case, I will teach them how to say it. Okay, so during the class, I will emphasize on how they're going to say things. Right? That's the side track. Okay. Of course, we're always talking about the subject teaching. This is what they would like to say, it's a subject teaching. I'm teaching chemistry. The content they have to learn, and English is extra. Right? So they have to do this both, okay, basically. Okay? So we can't cut short on the content. So this is what I've been adding for this semester. And also because I'm participating in some of the studies, okay, so they want to record my lecture. So I did one recording. So I'm going to show how it looks like in the class. Okay, this is a little bit longer. This is about 10 minutes. Okay, so please just watch it. Sorry. So you can see how sometimes I'm cutting off, but I'm trying to put things together so you can see how the class will look like in the class.
Okay, time's up. This is today's question. It will take a little bit of time. It will take some work, so I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, time's up. Pass it forward.
No. I have someone to record it for me. Again, I'm paying myself. You will see the camera soon.
I think most of you done within 3 minutes, so it's easy to do, right? We use you should do one at a time. Okay, so do 1 multiplied by this, 4 plus 2, multiplied by this, and minus 2. So it's so this is minus 6. Sorry. So it's 0. So there's no 1. Okay. So today we are going to do.
Sorry. I'm not quite sure I can pause it or not. Okay, let me pause it a little bit. Okay, so this is what I said. So the video I recorded, the student has to watch it before they come to the classroom. And once they got in the classroom, I will have a small quiz to have the exam on the video they watch. Okay, so this is the exam. So that's in the beginning of the class. I will have the exam, and 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, it's an easy question if they watch the video. If they don't, of course they don't get the points. So this is something I have to reinforce how they can do that. How they will watch the video.
Some work, so I give you 5 minutes. So what's the answer? I think most of you done within 3 plus 2, and multiply that. So this is minus 6. So I'm going to do slightly different than previously. Okay, so when I give you time to discuss, I would like you to record your discussion. Just voice recording, use your phone. Okay, do a voice recording. And before you do that, you have to say which group you are. Okay, group 1 or group 2. You say group 1 discussion. Okay? Got it? Okay. Okay, so this is helping us understand how you discuss within the group, how to process in the group. Okay? So this is a typical point group, one of the point groups, C2H. We have worked on this one previously. We have all the matrix representations. Okay? So we have collect this one in a table. So what I have done is I put a C2H, the point group, on upper left, and I collect all the central phrases on top. Then I'm going to try to find out all the traits, all the characters. Okay. So I will going to give you all the results. Okay. So I will give you all the results, and I like you to take. I will give you a few minutes to discuss in the group, about 3 minutes to discuss the group, and then I will ask one of the group to come up to explain it to us how we got these values. Okay? Got it? And when you discuss, make sure you're recording. Say group 1. Discussion. Okay, we can start it. You can start a discussion, and you have to explain it to us how we got this.
I got totally 3 cameras. So this one of the cameras is zooming to the students. This is a special thing because you can see there's 2 observers in the back, actually 3 observers in the back. So it's a small study project. So we did this. Okay, actually, they made some mistakes on the video, so I'm using the later ones. Okay. You hear what I said?
Okay, you can discuss normally. You don't need to discuss in English on purpose or anything. Discuss normally, okay?
Usually they discuss in Chinese, but that day I think they are nervous. I heard them all discussing English, so I told them they don't need to. They can discuss in Chinese. So later on, this is actually later on. They mix up with the videos. So I'm just showing this how they do in the class.
Which one are you? Okay, so come on. It's coming up, okay. Make sure top just starting with one. You don't need to explain the whole thing, just one of them. One row. One row should be fine.
The metric described is the movement of the molecule, and like, let's take this as example. If X performs the same, so we give a 1. And it's C2 because in C2 rotation, it alternates its X value into its minus value, so it's minus 1.
Why is it going to its minus value?
Negative, like from X to minus X.
Okay.
And sigma h means you alternate its z value because the rotation is the principal axis is the z axis. So the z value becomes minus v, so we get a minus 1. And the I means to make every element become with minus value. So we all give it, we give you minus 1, minus 1, and minus 1. And in this row we put, like it's 1 here, so we put 1 in X. Minus 1 here, so we put minus 1 in X. 1 here, and we put 1 in X. Minus 1 here, and we put minus 1 in X.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, group 4. Group 4, there's a group 4. Do another row and adding more information. Okay, besides what you said, adding more information. Good.
Hello, I'm from Group 4, and I'm going to talk about the while row. And there are 4 operators of this group, and when we operate an identity operator, and while will remain the same. And after the C2 is the principal axis, so it will be the Z axis. So when we rotate a C2, and the Y will move to the minus 1. And the sigma h is vertical to principal axis. Yes. So the y will remain the same, and I is inverse, and all the elements will have the minus. Well, minus 1. So it will be minus 1.
Okay. Okay. Did he add in more information? Okay.
Okay, so that's the example. Okay, so what I have done is for the new rounds is I got a video recording, and the student in the classroom, in the class, I focus on having them to speak. Okay, in the first year, I actually having students to solve questions. Okay, so they can they try to solve some problems, a little bit easier for them. But this year, the first lectures, I always have the student to give some information about themselves, and also what's their expectation for this class. Okay, just do one round, I realized that this year I got the students' English ability is much higher than the previous year. They actually is pretty good in English, as you can see. This is lecture 5. This is the 5th weeks. Okay, so they're actually doing relatively well. So this semester I decided I was going to have them to explain the content, not just solving the problems. Okay, they have to explain the content. It's a little bit harder, but I encourage them to try. So this is typically what happened in the classroom. So in the classroom, I don't do too much. I didn't do too much things. So I usually, the most important thing is timing. So I have to set up my iPhone. I've set up the time, and so the alarm will sound, so we do things accordingly. Okay. Occasionally I forgot to do that, and the student will never remind me. Okay, so it go on forever. Okay, so that's the typical things in the class. Okay, what happened in class. Okay, so then I started 2022. In that year, I have started with 21 students, and the 21 all going through to the end. Okay, that's the beginning to the end. And the reason for that is that this course is it's for undergraduate, and then also it's an elective course. And that year, in 2022, I taught both Chinese and English. So I have a Chinese course and English course, same course. My Chinese one has 61 students. The English one is 21. So because they have a free choice, so they all they stay. Okay, they work on them. Okay. And for this year, actually the students starting not so high in English. There are more than 4 or 5 students, I think. They can barely speak in English in the beginning of the semester. But to the end, I force them to use a whole sentence. Okay, so it's different level. Okay, the 22, I don't think the English is so good. So usually I have to really force them, and I told them you have to speak in a complete sentence. I will not accept a yes or no answer. Okay, you have to say, I think it is correct or something. Okay, I give them examples. I don't accept the yes or no question. So I can see them progress. Okay, actually, I get very proud of the students. I can see them from the beginning of the semester. They can barely say something, and to the end of semester, they can come out with the way to explain how they solve the problem. Okay, so I think it's quite good. I've been excited about that. So I'm continuing doing so. Okay, there's 23. 50 is the maximum for the university. Okay, so in the beginning, I got 50, but to the end, I only got 40, so 10 of them drop off. Okay, and that year is they also have a Chinese course offered, but it's not offered by me. It's offered by other professors. Okay, so some for this they can't. The other course is also me, so I think they are afraid to switch. Okay, so they were changing. Okay, but for this year, it's because there's too many students. It's becoming very difficult to control. As you can see this in the class, okay, what I have shown. I group them, and so there's 4 or 5 in the group. So I can see who's in the group, and I have to make sure everyone in the group has come up to talk. So they can't send one person all the time. I have to make sure they are switching. But when this many students, I lost track. Okay, I can't keep track who's been up on stage, and it's getting very difficult to control. To make sure I can reach my goal, that everyone have to be able to say something. Okay, so obviously during the semester someone is dropping. But still, it's by the students' evaluation, they still appreciate the course. Okay, so I'm continue doing so. So this is this semester. This is again in the beginning. But after the first lecture, okay, that's also I was explaining. The first lecture, it's important to have the student to talk about themselves and find out their expectation of the class. It's so important. Okay, so many of them in the first class, they said that first, they are few don't know there was an EMI course, and then there's some of that is because it's this is a little bit embarrassing to say. Our VP Liu is very serious about this. Okay, so she says every department has come out with the core course, with the English, and if you offer the course in EMI, for a core course you can offer both English and Chinese. If that's an elective course, as soon as you offer in EMI, you can never offer them in Chinese again. That's a VP Liu's, so very restricted. Okay. So, but they have the policy, we have the way to solve the problem. The way we solve the problem is that we change the title of the course. so from here to here, I changed the title of the course. So we offer both Chinese and English, but the title is different. Okay. Some students take both. I think they are crazy. Yeah, but some students say they took both courses. They say that they can learn it twice. One in Chinese, one in English. It's ridiculous. Okay. So, but some, because they think they like to be in my class, okay? So they don't think the other professor is suitable for them. So there are many reasons, okay? And some of them I didn't know it's an English course. So after a few lectures, the first lectures, so I know what happening. And again, because I want them to say in English, so I can immediately notice that actually their English is much better than previously, much better than the 22. I don't know why, but apparently they are much better. So because of that, I also adjust a little bit on the teaching. I also adjust some different tactics, but roughly the same. So now I have it's still ongoing. So now I have 27 students. They reasonably good. Okay, actually, I think the English is starting with a high point. So I have to try to have them to say harder things. Okay, more on the conceptual part. So we should see. Okay, so this is so far for this course, and then I'm going to do slightly different style. Okay, because I'm taking from someone else. You probably notice my slide has not many words. I don't like to have lots of words, except the documents. Okay, this is the one you have seen in NTNU. We have offering this EMI to sharing with others. This is from Zhang's slides, okay? So I think it's something that's very important, and also I have learned. I will show that also. Okay, what the teacher has to do, okay? So just change to teaching English. That's what I've done, in 2004 or 2005. I don't think it's going to work. Okay, if we just switch to teaching English, actually, the way we teach, okay, even in Chinese, is not a very efficient way. Okay, so if we just switch it to English, it's getting worse. Okay, So it's not going to work. This is not going to work, in my point of view. Okay. So we should do is in the process of learning how to teach English. To teach English, we require new method. We need to use some different tactics. Okay, so to have the student to work together. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So maybe we should adapt some of the pedagogical approach, some philosophy. Okay. So then that's what we need to think about. What is the issue? What are the solutions? What are the issues? Okay. So I think it's some we have to ask ourselves. I always ask myself, okay, why the student will take it in English? Okay, if they learn this is also for their study. Okay, so they are promoting in English, but also they are focused on the subject teaching. So it's not English teaching. So it's a subject teaching. So like me, I'm teaching chemistry, and so for them, they are interested in how the subject is taught. Okay. But from my point of view, is if you think about the student, if they're only going to learn the content, the chemistry, why should they learn in English? They can learn in Chinese. They learn that. So the idea is that you have to give an extra bonus to the student to learn in English. So the extra bonus for me is besides try to promote the students, try to encourage them. Say once you got good in English, you can express your professional in English. You can get much better job. Okay, something like that. And besides that, I also have an extra bonus. Okay, so I told the students, if you can follow all the requirements from the beginning to the end, everyone is starting from 80 points above. So if they can last, okay, so but we have lots of works, okay, so it will be from 80 to above, okay, from 80. That's the bonus I gave the student for them to do extra work. Okay, they have to do some extra work. Okay, so this is the interesting I want to exchange with everyone is about the timing. Okay. So this is what they'll study. Okay, this is Danish. It's a Dane. It's Denmark. They were using what happened when people change the lecture language. Okay, so they started 5 people, 5 persons. Okay, so what they found, the way they started, they're really doing the recording. Okay, so this is each section. Okay, they'll find out how many words in each time you can do. Okay, so actually, this is a real recording. I was curious to ask. I think when I switch talking English, I don't slow up my speed. I'm not quite sure. Okay, I talk fast. I usually talk fast. So I think I talk roughly the same speed as in Chinese and English, but I never recorded to see it. I never really checked. Okay, but anyhow, okay, so they recorded to check. So this is the results. If they talk in Danish, which is native language, okay, for this 5 lecture, they talk more words, more words, okay, in the same time. And if they talk in English, if they say it in English, okay, so it's a little bit less. It's almost 70-60% less. It's 70 or 60% of the native language speed. So it says that when you're using English, the teacher itself will be slower, not just the student. We think, when I teach in English, I think the student don't understand me, okay? But I never thought I would be slower myself also. I'm not quite sure. I don't think I have been slowed down. Okay. But anyhow, this is the research found out. They using English, even they speak is slower. So Zhang is a Swiss rating. So this is the results. Sorry. Okay, the same lecture section takes longer. Okay, so it's almost 21.5% longer, and the lecturer speaks more slowly in English. Okay, when we switch to English, they talk slower. Lecture has a shorter run, okay, so I have to get much less things. However, okay, the disciplinary content is very similar. You have to teach the same thing. Now you're slower. What can you do? This is totally the point of view on the lecturer, okay, the teacher. But they never thought about the students, okay? If we teach in Chinese, say, how much the student understand? And if I switch to English, how much the student can understand? Okay, the processing time actually is also different, but that is not been studied. Right? So it's very interesting. Just the teacher itself is slowing down, right? So the question, okay, so they have the question is that true for everyone? Okay, I don't think it's true for me. Okay, is that for all language? Okay, maybe Danish is just particularly difficult to switch to English. Okay, is this true to all subject area? Okay, so that's the question when they saw the results. So the Swedes, they like to do this again. Okay, but actually Danish and Swedish are very similar. Okay, their language are very similar. So I don't think they really deal with the language issue. Okay. So they have they found 18 lecturers at two Swedish universities. Let them do it. So they do 10 minutes mini lecture in Swedish and 10 minutes the same lecture, okay, in English. Okay, one person doing 2 lectures. Okay, so like I have done in 2022. I taught the same course in Chinese and English. Actually, I did it in the same day. So sometimes I got a little bit confused. Sometimes I get into the Chinese lecture because the English is first. So I go to the Chinese lecture, I was using English. Got a little bit confused. Okay. So they're recording this, and they found the results roughly the same. Okay, when they use Swedish, it's faster, and English is a little bit slower. So the lecture itself, whenever we switch to English, we talk slower. So this is what happened. This is immediately you're facing something is that you don't have enough time. If you're 20% slower or maybe more, you need 20% more time. 20%, that's a 3 weeks course, 3 or 4 weeks that we don't have. We shorten the semester that we don't have. So what can we do? Okay, so this is going to this what happened. Okay, what can we do? And also, he has mentioned there's 3 types of lecture. Okay, the first one, there's no change in English. It's teaching. That's what I will call as teaching in English. You teach in English, okay, but you are not concerning the students. Okay, so for those structures, no change in English. And then there's different kind. Is the structure works different in English. So like I have done in 2005, and I have done lately. I think I have a change. I taught differently in the English course. So that's then also when I talk to the people from Oxford, he actually likes to say EMI, the English as a media of instruction. He thinks that EMI itself implies you have to use a new method. He gave the phrase EMI a new meaning, but actually the EMI itself doesn't have that meaning. But he gave the special meaning. So in some universities, like Zhang, okay, university, they classify the teachers, you're teaching English or you teach EMI. So they don't want teaching English, they want teaching EMI. So most universities realize that they don't want the teacher just switch to English because it's not going to help students. So they want you to switch to English and using new method to really help the students in English. That's the idea. That actually is the idea. But how to do, is rely on the teachers. Okay? So the one really changed. And there's free structures. It's the freestyle. Okay. So what happened to the no change one? Now you speak slower. So what can you do? So you have to get longer lecture. Okay. No recess. Right? Or you cut the end of the lecture short. Okay, just in the university, we don't have to teach everything. So if you can't finish, you have the student to read it themselves home. Okay, so that's how we can do to overcome the problem, because you're going to take a longer time. So the one with different work, okay, this is what I have done, and they choose to, they can do a few things. You can choose to miss out some content, okay. So or you can cover all the content but less redundancy. So I don't give 2 examples. I only give 1 example. Or I cover everything but less depth. But actually, there's another way. Is what I have done. I create more time. I create more time by having the student to watch the video home. So actually, my students taking my course, even though it's two credits, they have to spend at least 4 hours 1 week. They have to watch the video first. That's usually an hour and a half lecture. And then they come in the class for another 2 hours. Okay, so I create the time. But the time is the student's own time, basically. So that's what we can do. The free structure will never work. Will never work. Okay. So it's a different information. Okay. It never works. Usually, some teacher is not very organized. Actually, I am not a very organized person. Okay. Some of my course, even though I have all the PowerPoint, but how to say it, how to explain the content, I do by watching the students. Okay, if the student has a puzzling face, I will repeat it in a different way. If the student looks like they don't understand, I will just go through it. So I'm not very organized. But teaching English, when I switch to English, I give up on that because you can't get true instant response from students. It's very difficult. Maybe they are processing what you said, or you just don't understand. So it's very difficult. You got the real response. So I give up on that. So I get everything very structured. So that's also something. That's also why some of the professors don't like to do so, because you have to be very structured, very organized. You have to make sure what you wanted to do, one at a time, and how much you want to do it. Okay, so you can't just forgot to prepare the lecture, go into the classroom and just randomly talk. It's never going to work. The student will completely lost. So this is what I found. Okay, so this is the way we're saying this is teaching English. This is the EMI, as in Taiwan's phrase. So this is Zhang's conclusion. The lecture probably need more time. So we need more time because we are slower. If you're going to teach the same content, you just have to need more time. Zhongzhen, okay, I've been using Zhongzhen as a reference point. Zhongzhen is general chemistry. Okay, they take a whole university examination, and someone has to force teaching as the EMI. The students have to take the same exam as the one learned in Chinese. So it's extremely high pressure. For us, mine is an elective course. I give my own exam, so it's up to myself. Okay, it's up to me. But Zhongzhen is a whole university, it's a unified exam. So what the teacher do is they have to gather the student extra time. So because they really can't finish that. So this is the difficult part. And some lecture will just be able to rationalize and work more efficiently. You have to get some way around. Okay. Some other methods. Okay, you have shorter time, but you have to teach the same amount of content, so you have to be effectively. Or some lecture tend to be less structured. Okay, so it's more student-centered, may have a problem changing to English. So this is what I said is a less structured lecture is never going to work. This is very difficult. So in this type, they usually the student has to be either much better in English or they have to be changed. Okay, it's very soon. I think in NTNU, some other professors has done the same thing as I have done. So we immediately noticed that teaching English has to be very organized, very structured. Okay? If you have the, I wasn't a very organized person. I have to change. Okay, I have to change the stuff. So that's okay. So that's the study just by the lecturer saying in English. Okay, be slower. So raising the timing problem. Okay, so what happened? This is my conclusion. First, okay, I think we need to have a smaller class. Okay, because of course the reason I'm saying this is because it's already in the beginning is a consumption in the that we are going to do different style. Okay, so like the way I'm doing. The way I'm doing is I wanted to encourage the student to speak English. Okay, so if I'm going to have the student to speak English, and I only have a certain amount of time, so if I have a class of 40 and a class of 20, I just need twice of the time to have all the students to speak the same amount of English. So that's it's very difficult, and I think there's a threshold for the student to speak English. Okay, so to overcome their own fear, there's a threshold that at a certain time they pass, they can just talk in English. Okay, before that they really struggle. So every student needs a certain amount of time. Of course, the thresholds are different, but every student needs a certain amount of time. So you have a large classroom, large students, a number of students. It's very difficult to give each student enough time to speak. So I think smaller class is very important. I don't know the average size of the Taekwondo. So like Chengda, we heard about it. Chengda, general chemistry, 300 people. In NTNU, we have about 40. 40 is roughly the right size. For graduate course, it's about 30, 20 to 30. So I think we need to do a smaller class to really be able to include the students, to be able to be like the expecting for the EMI. So they give the extra implication for the EMI is involving the students. Okay. And then, because we need more time, so how to do more time? Because I'm adding time myself. I'm adding more time to myself because I'm taking more time from the students. Okay. One of the professors observing my class, he was saying the elimination correctly, so the words come out different timing as I wanted or something. You have to spend so much time doing the video, doing the PowerPoint, so I can do the video. It's my time, so both students need more time and I need more time. But after I spent all the trouble doing the first year, I'm not using the same video. That's a good thing. I'm using the same video. Okay, so I think it's worth it. So that's also I'm telling the department. Okay, I will teach the course for another few years. Even after I retire, I will still teach the same course. Okay, so that's everyone need more time. Okay, more time. But still, for the students' time, we need to really think about that. I don't think cutting the content is good. Okay, so if you can't finish them in a certain time, but you need more time. So you really need to be a little bit creative. And okay, this is a teaching method. I think it's to successful in English teaching, we have to use new method. Okay, we can't just do the regular as we were students, regular way, the teachers on stage and explaining things, it's not going to work. Okay, it's actually, the more I including the students, the more I thought, even in Chinese, even we teach in Chinese, that is not a very effective way, because you're teaching students just dozing away. Okay, so I think it's using new, the more and more I think it's a different teaching method is very important. We really need to include more students' activity. We need to have the student to participate. Okay, right now we are not, because of the timing, okay, because we don't have that much time. We have so many things to teach. So we always try to finish the things. But if we somehow include the students participating in the classroom, it will help the students much more. Okay. So that's what my experience with all this teaching from the old way. So I was saying, the beginning I was teaching English, now I'm English as a media of instruction. Now it's what I've done, and I hope I have shown some experience. And thank you for coming, and I'll stop with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhang. It's very interesting and showing both teaching in English and also like using English as medium of instruction. And she showed both ways and also give us some her experience. Luckily in our school, our class is a little bit smaller compared to NU and NTU. So I think the NTU has I think the professor one teaching 300 students using EMI. So yeah, so he also prepared a lot of video. So both Professor Wang and Professor Zhang, they spend time. But good thing is once you spend time, you can use it again, something like that. So that's the thing. And also it's I just feel very touching. I right now I know why she got outstanding teacher in NTNU, because there are so many. NTNU is famous for teaching as a training the teacher, right? So and you want to be outstanding, then that must be outstanding, because you need to spend a lot of money from your own pocket, and because the video recording is so professional. I said, why my video production is so bad? It's just because of me. I'm doing that. But a good thing is for the best program. So right now we are training a lot of good TA. So we're training TA to do the EMI stuff, and also we have an incentive for the teacher. So we will have some. If you apply for some of the teaching method change, and you apply, we will give you some bonus in the end. And also we will provide some teaching method for you. And there are so many class we're doing, just Professor Zhang just take both Cambridge and Oxford. I think in Taiwan Tech we have Cambridge and also Fulbright stuff. And right now we have a lot of professors doing the 24 hours. How many hours? 20 hours? Yeah, they are doing training this semester also. After this one, they can also get certificate for this. And for professor who teaching in English, teaching EMI class, if you just attending this class, even just attending this seminar, we will get some 5-point extra bonus or something like that, and in the end. So it's I think Taiwan Tech is pretty good, and I think not only the best office will support it, but also Jiaofa. I think they will provide the green screen for free. It's just you need to apply for it, but I think they have some opening. That doesn't like NTNU. We have better. Yeah, so.
We are sweet.
So right now it's a time for question. 现在大家可以问各种中文、英文都可以。朱教授。
not necessarily a question. I think I noticed that in your classes, they are still mostly domestic students. Like in our classes, at least at my classes at graduate level, they are just foreign students totally. So using English is more, natural. Right. But I look at your the second point and need more time. I think maybe we can pre-record, say, 1 hour rather than 2 hours, and maybe I didn't do anything after that. But then I like the way you did it, and if we can just have short time focusing on key point or put more preliminary part, maybe it will be helpful. She's a very from our department. She's a very excellent teaching. She has a very excellent teaching. I'm not. I'm really a very good teacher. But I do find using English to teach is not just English is not really a purpose, or I should say that I always told my student that English is no longer an additional language, it's a tool. Right? You want to have a tool to be able to communicate with more people, and you want to do more things, then it is necessary that you are to some degree proficient in English. Then I think I also had the experiences that a domestic student, when they came to our school, our department, initially when they get up to do presentation, I think Chinese students or Taiwanese students are very energy efficient. They don't want to speak too many words. They only speak key words. Right? And gradually they start to, as you said, to have more sentences and so on. And also observe that at least in some of our undergraduate courses, which we also need to teach in English, the level of their English proficiency has increased tremendously. Right? They don't speak, but when you ask them to say something, they speak very fluently. Some speak much better than I do. So, yeah, but I do appreciate, I think your enthusiasm probably is more than anything else, so that students like the course and students enjoy your course. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know what, this is very important, okay? Lots of studies also wanted to see that if the classroom is half with foreign, actually the learning is more motivating because they think they have to speak English. Okay, this is the question, why do students want to use English to learn chemistry, okay, or learn your subject? It's the same question. And so even the student will be a little bit reluctant to learn it in English. But if they have foreign students, they think they have to use English with their classmates, so they are more willing to do so. So again, that's it's really up to us how to motivate the students. So as you mentioned, I also motivate them by, they have to have the skill, they have to use English because there's going to be the language to communicate. So this is unfortunately, in our department we don't have many foreign students. So actually, all my class are Chinese students. So in principle, if I use Chinese, they don't understand. So it's a little bit difficult. But it's another thing is that for me, I'm saying all the things feels like it's top down, under pressure. But actually, it's not. University professor, we really don't. We don't. This pressure is really not on us. Okay. So for me, it's the same thing. Okay. If I'm going to do something, I need to have a purpose. What I wanted to do. Okay. It's not. I've been forced to do. It's something I like to achieve. So that's the way I for doing this. The things I wanted to achieve is to help the student to speak fluently in English. And because I think their knowledge, okay, say like chemistry knowledge, they are very good. But our students, they can never show themselves. Okay, they always, wherever they go out, the people look them down because they can't speak. Okay, and the reason they can't speak, of course, Chinese are shy. That's one reason. Another reason is they are not confident with their English ability. So I'm just trying to help them. That's the I think I enjoy to do so. It's the way I'm forcing the student. Actually, I'm helping them to presenting themselves. Once they graduate, they can present themselves in public. They can present them either in Chinese or English. So this. I think this is worth of doing. Basically, I think this is worth of doing so, and continue doing so.
Thank you, Professor Zhang. Professor Zhang just like a catalyst. Just minimize the activation energy so the student can pass the threshold and speaking English. I think one thing I really admire Professor Zhang is like when she faced the problem teaching EMI, she's not just asking why me teaching, it's why not me. So it's like it's different logic. So it's like just like why not me? I should be the best one to teach. So then she began to do all the stuff. I think that's the thing I also want to learn from her. Any question from the audience? No, I have one question. So you never mentioned about the evaluation. So as a teacher in like NTUSD, we are so worried about the evaluation because when you're teaching EMI, sometimes you will get a lot of very meaningful evaluation. Yeah. So how about those students?
Actually, I forgot to look at those things. Okay, last week, a few weeks ago, when they mentioned that, I went to look at that. It's the points is a little bit higher than my normal points, but it's a little bit higher. I usually got 4.65 or something. Now I got 4.7, so something like that. But the student has given a comments. Many of them say they appreciate the video. So that's also I was say, yeah, the money is well spent. Yeah, they many mentioned that they really say the video is helpful. Okay. So I think it's the student they as I mentioned it's very important to take the first class to communicate with the students, to tell them what I'm expecting them to do. And also, I'm giving the opportunity to drop the course. So the ones stay, they understand my requirement. So there's no no complaining. If they can't handle it, they have to drop. So but also I heard them. I want them to say what they were expecting, and I can I can change it a little bit, but and there's minimal requirement. And if they have some extra expectation, we can do a little bit more. So it's not bad. It's not too bad.
So, OK， 有没有老师们有没有要问问题呢？可以其他的问问题。然后在这边的话，在你在想问题的时候，我再继续打广告。我刚才用英文讲，我们台科大真的是很努力在推这个BEST 的双语的这个部分，因为我们知道我们老师们遇到的困难是更大的。我们有很多从技职来的学生，然后他们英文其实没有像那么好，那可能我们要花更多的体力去，所以我们帮老师们除了刚才讲说那个教法去如果有一些教法的改善，然后可以去申请经费之外，我们还有成立一些那种老师们可以自己去组一个 EMI 的社群，彼此去取暖，因为其实这个真的是一个不是一条简单的路，然后需要彼此能够互相去帮助哦。然后只要4个人的话，好像一个学期是6万块，4个人的话就是一学期就6万块，只要办2-3次活动就可以了。然后如果加了外校的话，只要加一个外校就再加2万块。然后所以其实很简单，我只要从这个学校，他说好，这已经有一个，而且可以学到很多。 那个张一知老师哦 ，OK， 把它记下来。然后所以这个是我们的就是 EMI 社群的部分。那我们昨天刚通过那个 TA 的那个奖励办法，我们也很鼓励。其实看那个拍照，那个真的很辛苦哦。那我们要怎么训练我们的 TA， 他能够帮助我们？因为其实老师刚才有在讲说，他上课的时候他没有，只要超过多少人数的时候，他就没有办法去做互动。那个 TA 就是来帮助你的。那所以我们 Best 也去准备了2次 TA 的课程。那我们最近也会再宣布给大家，那也请大家鼓励其他你的学生来参加，因为其实我们的对 TA 也有奖励 ，TA 有2 TA 的那个奖励啊，大概只有1%的学生来申请，就只有一点点。那其实我们的奖项是到5%以上，可申请的人很少。那我们也鼓励大家来申请这样子。那就像那个张老师讲，那个只要超过那个水准之后，他的世界就会变得非常非常的宽广。那所以在4月，我们怎么去让学生知道，让他们学了有动力？我觉得这是很重要的一件事情。所以我们在4月22号的时候，我们请一个模特儿来演讲，因为那个模特儿，这个是我去那个在外文系他们办的一个演讲，我去听了，我说天啊，这只有外文系来听的话，实在太可惜了。因为她是一个模特儿，可是说实话，她没有特别漂亮。没有，她在封面上面看起来很漂亮，然后可是本人没有那么漂亮，可是她多了很多的。我说比起其他什么10啊那些的，没有那么漂亮，可是她是可以在国外当模特儿的。然后10这么大的一个模特儿事务所，她就只能在台湾而已，她就被 limit 在台湾。可是当她愿意的时候，她就可以，她只要她英文她 OK， 然后她跨过去。然后重点是我结束之后就问他说：“觉得你是外文系的吗？”他说：“不是，他只是讲英文的，他就敢讲，他就去拼着去讲，结果他就有很多的机会。然后学的我们的学生通常都国手，他们都要去比赛，然后他们要去面对到国际上的一些竞争。那如果他们真的能够踏出去的话，他们其实会增加很多他们的那个动力。如果英文不是他们的问题。”我记得以前常常有人在放那李宁跟那个谁林洋配，他们用非常烂的英文，可是他讲出来了，那这就是很重要这样子。还有没有什么问题？就比如这样，来，
张教授请教一下。然后只是想说，因为大家因为每位老师他的英语流畅程度毕竟都不一样。那因为您看的比较多，你有没有什么样的经验可以跟我们分享？说，比如说在教材的准备上，可能要重新再做结构，对不对？那是不是有什么样的比较建议的方式，可以让教学的这个效率或品质比较不这么吃所谓的 English fluency 这样的问题？比如说，其实英文觉得没有讲得那么好，可是能够用什么样的方式在教材准备上也能够比较不会影响到这个教学的品质。
其实就说当然这个我们老师很多人有时候他自己，我们系很多老师也很不愿意用英文上课，那真正就是老师真的要花很多时间，等于是说你要重新要看你自己的东西，那大概我的建议是至少删掉一半，大概真的就是要删掉一半。就是说你就先要看，你要重新 review 你所有的东西，那你哪一半你可以删掉，你就只讲剩下那一半最重要的。那当然就说，你说老师有时候英文本身就不是很流利，其实我觉得那不是重点。为什么呢？就是说学生英文也不流利，所以他会觉得说，就是都有这样的人他也可以啊，这也没什么不行。我们当年去国外念书的时候，我们有很多不同国家的人，每个人的英文都不太一样的。就是其实我觉得这不重要，就是老师自己愿意尝试对学生就是一个很重要的一件事情。可是内容是真正是老师真的要下很大的功夫，这确实是要。那当然我是觉得这个真的内容至少删一半，我真的是这么认为的，那才有办法真的把它完整的教完，然后完整的跟学生沟通好这样子。
就是说还是真的要把比较重要的地方抓出来，因为可能就算英文很流利，讲得很快。学生他也听不懂，对不对？
学生他也听不懂，所以也没有办法，确实这样的。 所以这个就是说，如果说你的内容真的没有办法解，你就一定要增加时间。就像我们说中正那个考试，它是全校考嘛，他就只好让学生晚上来啊，至少那些学生愿意来啦。我学生不愿意来，不是更惨？就是其实是这个是没有办法避免啊。就是说单你看人家 study， 就是连我们老师自己讲都会比较慢，所以事实上老师是真的要花很多力气。所以确实，我是觉得学校应该要多鼓励一点的，学校应该是要对老师们是要多鼓励一点。
谢谢沈老师的建议啊，这真的是一个很好的一个建议。那不晓得有没有其他老师还有想问我们问题或是分享，就或者课堂上在 EMI 上面有遇到问题的，就可以讲一下。没有？来，老师先自我介绍一下。
我是那个知识指导所的杨世华，那我也教了几年的 EMI， 那我的心得就是，其实教的话，把讲义准备好，然后写清楚，大概都不是太大问题。那比较大问题可能是学生问问题的时候，那因为我们学生很多印尼的啊、越南的啊，还有一些外国籍的，那其实现在的学生就是他的，像刚才老师讲的说减少他的课程，其实也不是这样。我的经验不是这样，他们求知欲很高啊，特别是印尼的越南学生，他们求知欲很高，然后他们要求要更多。那你跟他做一点点洗礼或什么，他可能想要更多，大概这样子。然后有些学生是像我有那个美国来的啦，然后有那个新加坡学生，他们报告的时候讲的英文都很，当然比我们好啊，他讲很快，那个真的是压力很大。我只这样讲，我分享一下我们那种问题。
OK， 好，这也是大家都会遇到的。
学生问问题的时候压力很大。
对。
不管是他英文好或英文不好。
对。
这个真的是那个班上有外国学生就是会这个样子啊。那我们是因为我自己本身我是没有碰过的，我其实只有一个学生我还有带一门 EMI 的普化，然后的普化实验但是没有人要带我去带 EMI 普化实验，有一个就是像这样子。后来最后学期结束的时候，我就请他们分享一下他们想法那个马来西亚学生，他就觉得说我们那个环境不够那个英语，因为我们的助教不太会讲英文，就是当外国学生他一定会认为你这不够 international。好，那我们的目标是要 international 是没错，所以这个其实也是我其实一直也很希望跟老师们分享，就是说每一个班都不太一样。好，那个我们自己觉得说，我希望这一班能够达到一个什么样的目标？就是等于说你开始教的时候，自己就要有一个期许。我自己对我自己就是一直都会有一个期许，说我希望这一班可以教成什么样子。好，那个如果说你有外国学生的时候，当然你就有一个不一样的期许。好，所以也许你的期许是说，我的目标是这一学期我们的这个不管是本级学生或是外籍学生，他最后可以达到一样目标或是什么样子。好，或者是说我们本级学生可以英文讲更好，外籍学生这个理论可以学更好。因为外籍学生讲实在讲，他们的理论基础比我们差一点。东南亚我不是很确定那个像我碰到的有几个，我是觉得他们程度比我们是差一点。所以也许是有这种方式可以交换，你可以让外籍学生教本级学生英文，然后本级学生教外国学生那个课文那种这样子，也可以用这种方式让他们两边都可以受惠。好，这个就是说，我觉得每一门课都有它的不同的地方。那就是老师们就是自己要先想好说我要怎么样来处理这门课这样子，那要怎么样让这个英文然后也能够让学生都可以达到这个英文的进步。就说有需要进步的学生当然如果你是新加坡来的学生，他当然不需要，可是他能不能帮助到需要的学生英文变更好？好，其实我真的是觉得这对老师是很大的挑战。学生反正就是在那边听可是老师真的是很大的挑战。确实是，我是觉得可能一开始就先想好是比较可以 smoothly run。这个也是我自己其实一直思考过说，为什么要做这些事情。我其实常常会就是说我有自己想清楚， 然后我就这样做下去这样子。如果说我自己都没有办法接受，为什么这个教育部要求我们就得做这件事情，那你很难执行下去。所以就是自己要先想清楚，我要怎么，我这一班要怎么样。其实像我这一阵子教我心想说，我这几年教学生英文程度就都不一样，所以其实我今年就稍微有点不太一样，就跟前几年就又有一点差别。好，就说所以也是需要老师也是要适时调整。不过我想有外国人的都会建议说，你就让两边想办法交流这样子。
这是台科的另外一个优势，我们外国学生很多。那我们现在实验室最多外国学生的朱副，
谢谢你，我只是就讲得很好啦。那我觉得除了课堂上面之外那其他的这个环境呢，就是其他比如说像我们 group meeting 我们都有英文因为外师很多。我分享一下，我其实蛮 touch 的，就是说我有一个学生去台积电，现在台积电很行嘛。他年初的时候赖我，我也赖他。后来发现到，他怎么时差有些时间差，后来才知道他在 Phoenix， 那他进去我算一下，我说我现在算上他进去台积电不到3年了，他就被派去 Phoenix 监工，设厂。那他跟我讲一句话，老师，因为我的英文比较好。他愿意就是说，反正3个月就回去了，1月到今年这个月就回去了。他在台积电就变留美的，因为那个厂务他们叫厂务的话，设厂的话就是留美的就会比较吃香。那因为他是硕士班他本来不是台科大毕业的，可是进来之后被磨一磨，2年毕业，哇，英文就很好。他说因为有英文的习惯，所以他这个很快就被派出去。所以我觉得这个我常常讲，台科大学生很就是逆来顺受，他听不懂英文以前还没有像这么好，我们还有那个录音。之前呢，我记得我刚来的时候，这几年是学生拿一个录音笔在那边录我上课讲英文。我也会觉得哇，这个学生也是太努力了。你看录完之后回去还可以慢慢听这样子。所以我觉得现在已经很多学校给了很多资源，我觉得这已经很好了。那也就是在这里让我们学校学生比较跟别人不一样。我相信将来业界会有更多这种会喜欢台科大的这个学生这样子。我打小的广告啦，谢谢。
谢谢。其实这个我觉得这个 example 都是最好的。像我们师大其实也有一些小的这种小 example 也是一样，也是都你拿来鼓励学生其实我觉得对学生有时候还是要鼓励的，就是你像这种例子拿来鼓励学生对他们学生都那个学习那个他其实愿意学，他就愿意多做点事情，他心里很排斥他这件事情就做不起来，所以我觉得像这种 example 都很重要。谢谢。
那我想时间也差不多，如果还有什么问题的话，可以私下在彼此之间再聊天，或者找那个张老师。那在座的也都是我们的老师我们台科的老师，或是我们的伙伴学校在座如果结束之后，如果还有时间的话，等一下会去拿食物的时候，可以彼此再认识一下，可以组个团体因为我们目前已经有2个教师团体，一个是在电机系，一个是在应外系
社群吗？
社群。语中有一个，然后一个在电机。那所以欢迎其他的社群我们也可以来这边比较认识。我们现在已经多了一个校委，可以多2万块，比较简单的。他们基本上就是我看过他们的，就是基本上只是聊天，然后那个分享，这样就可以了。好，那我们再次热烈的。